Well, Ann Coulter, the best-selling author, her latest book, In Trump We Trust. If you haven't read that, get the book, In Trump We Trust. And, of course, her column, you can go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get it there. Make sure you follow Ann Coulter on Twitter and Facebook and all that. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you, Mark Simone?
Good. You heard General Flynn has pled guilty.
Yes. To lying to an FBI agent. I want to tell your listeners, if you have not been watching Rachel Maddow or paying attention to any of this Russia probe, you've missed nothing.
Well,
nothing has changed. I mean, this is as I suspected. They keep doing all of this. Oh, breaking news! It's everything we knew from the beginning. There's absolutely nothing new.
Oh, there is something new.
What?
ABC's Brian Ross now reporting, he's leaking the first one to repeal that what General Flynn will testify to, and it looks like this is after the election, that he's going to testify that President Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Now, wouldn't that prove that there was no possible collusion if they were just beginning to try to make contact after the election?
That's an excellent point. Yes, lying to the FBI, ranks up there with murder or saying killing a girl as an illegal alien on a San Francisco pier. It's a very serious crime. No, I mean, it is a crime. This isn't the sort of thing that is. I mean, it depends what one is lying about.
We don't know if he lied. They had pretty much.
I think you're right.
They pretty much threatened to indict his kid.
Right, and we knew this from the beginning. This was what was going on was Trump had just been elected. It was during the transition. Of course, the transition government reaches out to other governments. The whole system is about to switch. That's the way our system of government works. And Obama had just thrown out all of those Russian spies out in Long Island.
Yeah.
Really had a fantastically good gig. They lived across the street from one of my friends out there. It's a fantastic neighborhood. And the Cold War was over, so they had nothing to do. They just got to live in a lovely town in Long Island, paid for by the Russian government because they'd never gotten around to shutting down this Cold War operation. So it wasn't a particularly big deal, but Flynn, as we all suspected from the beginning, the alleged lie to the FBI, it isn't a lie, or it isn't a crime to lie to the vice president, but that's what Trump fired him for. It was portrayed as a lie, and as we all suspected, it wasn't. I mean, I would put it this way. I don't think it was an intentional lie. Why would he do that? It would be stupid. It is an interpretation, and that is he tells the Russian ambassador, don't overreact. At least that's what I'm hearing reported right now. And again, this is what he is admitting today for the plea deal. He says, look, don't overreact to this. And also, and this will probably help him with, he asked the Russian ambassador for Russia to either abstain or vote no on one of these UN resolutions condemning Israeli settlements.
Yeah.
And he told the FBI asked, did you talk to the Russians during the transition period, or did you encourage them not to take action or something like that? He said something like, don't overreact to this, new administration coming in. That's being portrayed as a lie. But over all of this, the most important thing I want all of your listeners to remember as they hear liberals acting as if this is a crime as great as murdering an American girl on a San Francisco pier after having been deported 5 times, is that back in the 80s, right before Ronald Reagan's reelection, Senator Teddy Kennedy wrote a secret letter to both the head of the Soviet Union, and this was the Soviet Union, the one that was shooting down American planes, sending scientists off to the gulag, starving people, invading countries, taking over, country after country. This was, and I might add, the Soviet Union of the show trials, which liberals were also down with. It wasn't today's Russia promoting Christianity and fighting the Islamic terror threat that is the only Russia that terrifies liberals. In 1983, Teddy Kennedy wrote a letter to Andropov and the head of the KGB, proposing to work with them to come to the U.S. to fight Ronald Reagan and defeat his dangerous militaristic policies.
Yeah, that's
he was going to set up interviews. He specifically said he would set up interviews with Barbara Walters and Walter Cronkite. He's a United States senator working with an actual enemy, which Russia is not today. In fact, I would prefer to be allies with Russia than with Germany and most of Western Europe these days. They have totally switched sides on what the current threat is. This is a United States senator secretly conspiring with the head of the KGB, when it existed, the actual KGB, and Andropov to try to take down an American president. Was there ever a prosecution, a fine, or even an investigation, Mark Simone? No, there was not.